Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today we are taking a look at from the Transformers Unite Warriors, the Japanese line, from the Bruticus gift set. This is Blast Off. And as you can see, and as I'm sure you all know, Blast Off is a new mold that was created exclusively for this set. Uh, Takara has been doing this with their Unite Warrior sets. We got a proper motorcycle groove with the Fensor. We're getting a Ratchet with Skylinks. And then we had with the Superion and Menasor, we had the final well, I don't want to say proper, but the final original members of each team added in. Will we see this figure in the United States? I do not know. But my gut feeling is telling me that since May Mayhem has already passed and we got Groove, next year we'll be knee deep in Titan's Return and the movie line. I don't think we'll be seeing a blast off on U.S. shores anytime soon. I really like this figure. It is very nice, and one of the things I really like about it is that it's a self-contained figure. What I mean by that is right underneath there you have weapon storage, just like on Groove, where his blasters form the rear turning signals and the side details of the motorcycle mold. That actually functions as a front landing gear, which means if you want to go ahead and just remove the limb module, you have a self-contained figure, and I really dig that. The colors are very nice. They're very accurate, or I should say close enough to the cartoon. Um, you know, Animation back then sometimes. When you're having to produce a show 5 days a week, sometimes little mistakes happen, but they are very close. Um, there is no working landing gear, but what there is a bunch of ports here under the wings, and you can use what chest here, where the limb module is pegged in, so you can kind of deck it out. So yeah, we'll just pause, and we'll get into the transformation to robot mode. Okay, transformation is fairly easy, but there is some nice little bits here. First, what you want to do is we're going to stand it up on end. I'm going to flip back the nose cone. Oh, before anything else, you want to go ahead and remove the gun. As you just saw that, it just flicked right out of my hand, but nice little representation of his blaster. The old G1 design. So flip that up. You want to disconnect the whole section here. It pegs in right there. Fan these panels out. Bring it down. There you see Blastoff's head. Don't worry, I'll give you a nice little look. Go ahead and then you want to just, on a double joint here, flip that inward so it'll accordion in and sit in the chest, and then flip up the chest on that double joint, and there you have Blastoff's chest. I like it. I think it's kind of cool. Next, go ahead, flip up the arms. They do, I mean, this does work a lot like the aerial bots in terms of you have that double joint action. Flip the wings down to the rear, just like so. Go ahead, split the legs, and once again, you are seeing the Rook leg transformation where it's flipping out on this double hinge and pegging into the side. Next, what you want to do, going to come in down here to the feet, and these are on double hinges. You just want to go ahead and flip the boosters back so that they will peg in quite nicely. You can go ahead and bring the arms down, just get them out of the way. Finally, what you want to do is first rotate the tail fins out to the side, just like that. Bring the wings back and around, and then rotate everything at the waist so it's facing forward. Bend the arms. The arms do lock into place at the elbow for transformation to its various modes. And here you have Blast Off. Let's come in. You can peg the gun here into its fist. Under the arm, is it both arms? Yes. Under both arms, you does have the double posts. They show in the instructions using the front post here to peg in the limb module. As you can see, it is a entirely new mold, which I think was kind of interesting. But yeah, so there's Blast Off. One complaint, and unfortunately it's the same complaint I've had for a lot of Combiner Wars figures. Hips are very loose. I mean, they do hold when you put them down, and they're not nearly as bad as Skull Smasher from Titan's Return. But it is a little disappointing that even on a new mold Japanese figure, um, we are getting those loose hips. We'll come in real quick for a little look at Blastoff's head. Very close to the original animation design, just like so. It is on a ball joint. There is also a panel there, which that's a bit of an issue, but we'll get into that when we get into the limb modes. Yeah, this is really a kind of cool figure. Like I said, I really dig it. There is some play with the ankles in terms of the tilt. And there is one more feature. Let's say you don't like the ankles on the back of the leg. These actually do pull off, revealing more ports. Peg them back together, just like so. And if you notice, right here is the combiner port. There's a little notch on it. And there's a little, when you push the fins together, there's a little groove there. So this just lines up quite nicely. There's some pegs in the back. And apparently you can pin the fin on the back. This is actually because some of the animation models from Blast Off back in G1 had the fin on the back. That really doesn't do anything for the articulation or balance, but like I said, it does, make the figure a bit more interesting. So we'll pause here and we'll go into the two limb modes. Okay, so the instructions show going into both limb modes from vehicle mode. So we're just going to follow along with that. First, what you're going to want to do is come in, bring back the nose cone of the shuttle, and then just flip open these chest bits and then just bring it up like that. Oh, but before you do that, and this is where things become an issue, it's the head. The head here is on a hinge, and now for arm mode, it's not that bad because you're not rotating it up all the way. You'll see in leg mode how this is going to become a bit of an issue. But flip the head down, it'll just basically tuck in, so you have the nose cone up like that. Bring the arms out. You want to just go ahead, bring them in, and they kind of sit a little odd. They do groove in there, so you just want to make sure they're unpegged. Bring it up, peg it in, and there you go. You basically have like the arms done. Separate. Oh, you want to actually, since you're going to be separating the legs, going to bring them out a little. Bring the legs down, just like so. Now, you're not rotating anything just yet. You're not rotating the fins. So you're going to peg everything back together, just like you're making the leg long. Flip what are the feet down and around. That reveals the combiner peg. And then flip up the wings, and that forms the wrist area. And then of course, come back and bring the arms back down, just like so. I wish there was some way that they would peg in, but really doesn't work like that. Next, what you want to do is hip joint, I should mention, is very tight. Go ahead and rotate. So we're going to set that off to the side. Bring in the limb module, which, by the way, is, like as I mentioned, entirely new. Looks like you have some missiles molded in there, but go ahead. Bring it up. And now I do want to, I'll be very honest, the peg for the limb is a little tight, so pushing it in, you might separate the legs. But the legs do hold together well. And there you go. You have your arm mode, just like that. And, it's a little, the hips unfortunately are a little loose, but it is what it is. We should be used to these arm bits by now, but hi, how are you? Let's take a look at the leg. Okay, leg mode is fairly similar to how the transformation goes. Again, we're going to start off, just flip the feet down and around. They do, hook into the back. Going to actually swing the wings down and away, and then come up here, open up the nose cone, and this is where you run into the problem with the head. You see, there is that notch right there on the combining port, and to its credit, they did mold a slot uh, into the panel of the robot head. Unfortunately, what happens is, and it didn't do it. A lot of times, when you're swinging the post around, that it will rub up against the notch there in the wrong way and actually end up popping the head off. It didn't happen that time. I'm sorry, but that is a common complaint I have heard from other people. Besides the fact that legs being loose, um, hips, what have you. I've also heard that the thing here is really the only thing that holds the legs together in all the modes. So without, and that's a little bit of an issue. But here you have the foot. Um, it's okay. I mean, it's a leg. I really don't think a lot of people are going to use this for blast off in this mode. Oh, and it just happened when I was bending the knee joint. You can see right here the little panel popped off. I mean, basically, unfortunately, it's as you're, you know what it is? If you fold the head down all the way, it pops off. So what you got to do is you got to leave the head up just slightly, and I'm actually glad it did that so you guys could see it. And yeah, you'll have plenty of clearance to bend the knees around and do whatever posing. But like I said, I don't know a lot of people are going to use blast off as a leg. It's just nice that it's there. It's nice that it can be able to do it, but you know, let's be honest. This is meant to be an arm, and what an arm it is. Ba-dum. So pause. I'll give you my final thoughts. I have to say, in the last couple years, I've been buying more Japanese figures than I have from the main line, just because they tend to do things closer to how I envision the figure. And the way Takara has handled the Combiner line, Combiner Warriors here in the US, Unite Warriors in Japan, by giving us the complete sets closer to the animation model, and then stepping in and creating new figures where Hasbro would just be happy with repainting or slightly retooling a pre-existing figure is really, shows their dedication to the line and to the fans. I mean, there's a reason why now Combiner Wars is known as Repaint Wars in the United States. With that said, I just don't feel myself being as excited for this figure and the rest of the Bruticus Combaticons team as I should be. And I think it's just because this came a little too late in the game. Um, Originally, this I think, was supposed to be released around April. It just kept getting pushed back until late June, early July, and then stores started getting it. And it's just, by that point, a lot of fans had moved on to Titan's Return or what have you. RID started putting out some new figures, and I don't know. I mean, last year when Hasbro revealed Bruticus, and it was basically 4/5 repaints and slight retools, my heart sank, especially when I saw we weren't going to get a Space Shuttle Blast Off. My heart lifted when Takara stepped in and showed us their blast off. And once we got the fuller reveals, a 4 propellered vortex, which I think is equally wonderful. But just the time for to get the figure in hand, it's like I'm just not with it. So with that said, if you waited to get the Combaticons like I did, definitely pick up this set. It's a beautiful set, and Blastoff is a beautiful figure. But if you already have the American versions or the G2 set, which is in those crazy colors, I really don't see myself recommending the Japanese set just for Blastoff. Now, here's the flip side. There is one more Unite Warrior set coming, Computron. Strafe is actually going to be a retool and extensive remold of Blastoff. I actually think they're going to be somehow flipping the vehicle around so the rear, the shuttle mode will become the front. I don't know. It's, this will be the front and this will be the back. I am not really sure. Whereas Hasbro's Strafe will be an aerial bot. In that regard, you'll kind of be getting Blastoff, but maybe as a figure you'd enjoy a lot better. Because I know a lot of American collectors are actually going to get both sets since they're both different. I hope I helped you make a decision. I've probably left you more confused, I'm sorry. This is your old pal Chuck for Blastoff. We will see you next time.